Coming up, we take a first look inside Tiana's Bayou adventure as previews begin at the attraction. New details are revealed for the Country Bear musical Jamboree. I've got some more news to break there. And Big Thunder Mountain is in for some big updates, which we've got some rumored details on as well. All that and more on the way. How are you guys? This is Mickey Views News.
All who come to this happy place, welcome.
Now I'm the king of the swingers, oh, the jungle VIP. I've reached the top and had to stop, and that's what's bothering me.
First up in the news today, I am alive. I'll tell you guys, the hiatus these past 6 weeks or so here at Mickey Views, it really wasn't a hiatus. I spent 5 of those weeks since my last Mickey Views video engaged in a spiritual battle against my computer and my video editing softwares as I've been grinding out this next documentary for our historical documentary channel, Address Unknown, which hosts documentaries about Americana that deserve a spotlight. I'll let you guys know I got a lot done, but this next documentary is going to be feature length. Over the past month, I've animated 15 minutes of this documentary where I'm talking about stuff that happened between the 1890s and the Great Depression. So as you can imagine, you can't just throw up a bunch of photos and videos up on the screen like I do in these videos because very few even exist. So basically I have to make everything in the computer. At one point, to get some high quality photos on my hands, I actually drove 600 miles to the Library of Congress Prints and Photographs room in Washington, D.C. And once I got to chapter 2, I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna make this easier on myself. I'm gonna film some live action stuff, reenacting what I'm talking about. So what I actually had to do is build an entire period accurate set here, fabricate props, all of that, get all the shots, and then I had to tear it down and then get back to Mickey Views mode here, get some news videos out for you guys, and then it'll be on to chapter 3 where I'm gonna build a whole building inside of Blender, the 3D modeling software, and only 12 more chapters after that. So is it a little excessive? Yes, but 2 years into researching a topic and writing a feature-length documentary, there's a point where, you're so far into it where it's like there's no sense in cheapening out at the last second or shelving the project. I just got to push through and deliver something that in the end I'm happy with. So enough about myself. It's really nothing too important, but I appreciate all the messages from you guys. Know when there's big news, on the Disney end of things, I'm here. I'm just trying to budget my time the best I can and deliver the best quality content I possibly can to you guys. So first up in the Disney news today, the talk of the town is Tiana's Bayou adventure as previews are getting underway. Right now, it's cast members previewing the ride, and then there's Club 33 and DVC and D23 and annual pass holders, a bunch of people getting previews. The preview dates for annual pass holders are June 13th, 14th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and the 20th. And then the ride will officially open to everyone on June 28th, where to start, it is going to use the virtual queue system that we are all quite familiar with, but also the attraction will be part of Genie Plus, which is interesting. It's not a paid individual Lightning Lane attraction. You don't have to pay an upcharge just for this one ride. You do have to pay an upcharge if you don't get one of the free virtual queues, but that'll be for Genie Plus. So you can also skip the line at other rides throughout the day as part of Genie Plus, and Tiana's Bayou Adventure is just going to be one of the options on the Genie Plus service. So in the event that you aren't lucky enough to secure one of the free virtual queue slots, those dropping at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. each day in the app, and for annual pass holders, you also have to have a Magic Kingdom Park reservation to grab one of those. If you're not able to get one of those virtual queue spots, then you can do the Genie Plus option, although I suspect that those are going to go pretty quickly in the morning, but we'll see how demand is at this attraction. I'm not exactly sure if it is going to be as popular as Splash Mountain. It's going to be pretty popular, but I think that it seems like Disney thinks that the initial rush is going to be pretty short, and then they're going to be able to take Tiana's Bayou Adventure off of the virtual queue system quite early on. Taking a look at the attraction itself, this past Thursday, the sign was revealed outside the front of the attraction. So that is the new sign there. The walls around the entire exterior, they have been taken down. The front area there. I told you guys when Splash Mountain closed, I was bullish on the turnaround time here for Tiana's Bayou Adventure versus what we experienced with other recent additions where they took 5 years. Take a look at Tron, for example, because the thing with Splash Mountain is, first of all, the ride already exists. It's a re-theme of the ride, but also Splash Mountain is one of the best people eaters at the Magic Kingdom. So having that ride offline has been a big hindrance to park operations, where park capacity has been lower, and that has exacerbated crowds and the wait times at the other attractions around the park. And Splash Mountain being down also meant that other things in desperate need of major downtime, chiefly Big Thunder Mountain, couldn't afford to be down for a while, because then the park would have even more serious crowd and wait time issues. We'll get to the Big Thunder stuff in a minute, because I've got some insight on what's going to be happening there, potentially in the near future here. At Tiana's Bayou Adventure, you can now see the exterior in its full glory. Reactions from guests on the exterior are pretty mixed. On the sides of the exterior, on each side, it's mostly the original Georgia Clay Hills kind of look, but the middle part has been transformed a lot, as you can see with the log having been removed, the Princess Water Tower going up, tons of artificial foliage all over the mountain, which I can't say I'm the biggest fan of. Let me know what you guys think. And in the foreground, you have some swampy looking trees, some trees that you would see in the Bayou, some cypress trees, which I would say look better in real life. They really do give the area some depth, some parallax as you walk past, as you walk over the bridge there. And it also helps break up the scale, the perspective of the mountain, and makes it more of that Bayou salt dome idea that the Imagineers are going for. And there are some cool details with the nighttime lighting over here that Drew the Disney dude has been extensively documenting on X, where there are firefly effects, lots of multicolor LEDs pointed at the facade. The coolest thing I think are there's these little light up plants in the water, which are very reminiscent of Pandora, which personally I think is the best land addition that I've witnessed while covering Disney regularly since 2015. Also, there's an armadillo with an umbrella somewhere around here, somewhere nearby. I'm not exactly sure where exactly this little guy is, so that's a little scavenger hunt for you next time you are at the Magic Kingdom. He's been getting a lot of love on social media. There's a lot of little Easter eggs in this area, I'm sure. One that I noticed is if you look at the newly unveiled attraction sign, the marquee, you might spot some frog feet, which have been worked into the styling of the border of the sign there, which is a nice little hidden detail there most guests will miss. Once passing the attraction splashdown area, you head over to the attraction queue, which is quite familiar with Disney keeping the wooden log fence outdoor queue, but they changed quite a bit with new stone pavers and brickwork and wrought iron fencing, which I think looks really nice. It should be noted that nearby, the playground that Splash Mountain had, where a surprising number of people online, they've remarked their fond memories of that area. As we covered many months ago, the wheels of progress have not been too kind to that little fella, and as of today, we have photos courtesy of Blog Mickey, where here you can see it is now stroller parking. There is no longer any play area there, which is interesting to me because the attraction still has the same 40-inch height requirement that Splash Mountain had. So lots of kids in strollers are not going to be able to ride. And the point of that play area was it gave the kids who couldn't ride something to do, and their parents could sit in the shade nearby while their kid played and while the other people in the family rode the attraction. So what I'm hoping for is hopefully Disney has thought this through and has some new activities in store for younger folks that are waiting as their taller family members head into the Bayou. Also in that outdoor queue area, there's new lighting and speakers. You might notice the Imagineers gave some great attention to detail. You'll notice the way they did the light fixtures and the speakers. They're trying to transport guests to the 1920s period. The theme of the ride is the 1920s. That is the time period that it is based on or is supposed to be based on, and you have some of those Art Nouveau motifs here. That being said, the barn murals, the murals you have on the barn, as well as the car stationed out front of the barn murals, those don't look too 1920s to me. The car in particular, I don't think this has really been remarked on. If you look at it, the graphics on it they're digital. They're pixel perfect graphics, and it almost looks like they're plastic decals. But if I did this car, what I would have done is I would have gotten a sign artist to paint it by hand paint the lettering, because that's what all the graphics that were on cars in the 1920s, that's how they were done. They didn't have CNC machines to cut perfect decal vinyl that then you could use to stencil paint or anything like that. So all those little hand-painted imperfections, that's what makes a 1920s car look like a 1920s car, doing it the way they did it back before they had Photoshop. Some fans online have been nitpicking the signage all around the attraction, and even some stuff on the attraction in terms of the signage. And a lot of fans, other fans have been saying, you know, who cares? You know, the normal guest isn't nerdy enough to notice this stuff anyways. You're nitpicking. Don't worry about it. The thing is that I really think that subconsciously, the normal guest does notice stuff like this when it comes to trying to immerse them into a particular time period, like they're trying to do with Tiana with the 1920s. And if you go the extra mile on the immersion, just something as simple as hand painting the lettering on the side of a car that guests are going to get extremely close to when they're in the queue, it's those little details that make Disney Disney. And maybe this is a budget thing. Thankfully, it sounds like CapEx is going to be much bigger on future projects from some stuff that I've heard, including things happening at the Magic Kingdom that no one's talked about yet. So make sure that you're subscribed, because we've got a lot on the way there, news-wise and rumor-wise as well. At this point, for those who don't want to see clips that Disney's released inside of Tiana's Bayou Adventure of the ride itself, please skip ahead to the timestamp on screen or to the next chapter in the video on the timeline below on the video here. So in the second episode of We Call It Imagineering, the series that Disney is doing on the Imagineering YouTube channel, it's really good, by the way, Disney revealed the inside of the attraction, but they did it in a very interesting way. So the way they revealed, they did a POV of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The way they revealed this to the world is they recorded one of the music writers for this ride, PJ Morton, riding through the attraction, and they sort of showed his point of view, his reactions, and there we saw the greatest hits from throughout the ride. Taking a look at what we do have right now, you can see we have a Tiana animatronic on the lift hill, which is a pretty cool detail there. We've got Mama Odie. The story of the ride involves you finding friends for the musical celebration that culminates at the end of the attraction. And at one point, when you go down into the old laughing place area, you shrink in size for this mushroom scene, which seems quite psychedelic, and you can see there's a lot of projections and things going on there. You'll see projections of Tiana, which you can actually see briefly in this preview footage, but also as you're heading down, there's going to be a projected Mama Odie above you, and projections on the trees, and projections all over that area. And then after the mushroom scene, then ultimately you head up to the top for that iconic splashdown where we dropped on the Mickey Views social media accounts last week this first photo online of the top of the lift hill on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. What it looks like now, so that's going to be your view from the top, and from there you head down into the bayou, you splash down into it, where that guardrail that we saw during construction, that has been well covered up now with plants. And after the splashdown, this all leads to the finale moment, which this ride builds up to, the spectacle, which is this celebration scene, this party scene with more animatronics than any other scene in the ride, where you arrive at the party, the ride is all about, in this very impressive room where you recall we used to have this steamboat. This is where they actually play the new song that PJ Morton produced, that he wrote, I believe. And this new song, I've got to tell you guys, it is definitely an earworm. I do think that it is one that is going to be stuck in people's heads. It's pretty catchy, but Universal Music Group is already taking down YouTube videos that are using even small bits of the song, so I can't play it for you guys here. You can find it on the Imagineering video and also on Disney social medias. So that's the preview of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I'm sure by the time this video is edited and posted, or maybe shortly after this is posted, we should have a full POV of the attraction quite soon, because previews are getting underway as we speak. I don't want to review the ride yet because we haven't seen the full thing yet, and there's some stuff that I really like here, namely the animatronics, which some of them are very impressive. There's more of them than I expected. However, this is a long ride, and the fact that even in the highlights that we got, you can see that there's some unthemed walls where they used to have matte paintings, you know, like painted flats. Now it's just an exposed wall, and there's an area where on each side of Mama Odie are these giant turf blocks that are very two-dimensional and just have little lights added to them. You know, things like this, and the pitch black areas between brightly lit sets. That stuff does kind of concern me, knowing the limited budget that the creatives were given. But the real test will be, how does this compare to Splash once we have both POVs to compare? That'll be very interesting. We should get more of an idea of what that'll be like quite shortly. Let me know what you guys think of what we have seen so far. Also over in the Magic Kingdom today, rumors are swirling that Big Thunder Mountain is going down for a year or more for a massive update. I've heard people saying on social media they've heard Disney is going to rip out the track and do all new track on this coaster, which sounds crazy. I will tell you guys, at least based on our sources, what I know, I do not believe that it is the case that Disney is going to be ripping out the track, replacing the track all the way around Big Thunder Mountain. That would be basically the cost of making a whole new ride. However, there are changes coming to Big Thunder Mountain, I am quite confident, some that I've been teasing you guys about since 2020, when I told you guys about the 50th anniversary enhancements that were coming to the Magic Kingdom, which ended up being shelved once the events of 2020 unfolded. And since several of those have actually been taken off of the shelf and actually happened, such as the Hatbox Ghost at the Haunted Mansion and the Country Bears update we are getting right now. I want to break the news that we are hearing that after many years of Walt Disney World President Jeff Volley not green-lighting adding explosion effects to Walt Disney World's Big Thunder Mountain, which the other iterations of the attraction around the world have, at this hour I am hearing that allegedly, finally, Volley has approved that update, albeit the effect will be different here at Walt Disney World than the other iterations of the effect around the world. So you heard it here first, new effects are allegedly coming to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. On the track question, if you've noticed, Big Thunder Mountain has been down a lot this past year, randomly throughout the day or the week. It's just this thing where all of a sudden the ride goes down and then it's down for many hours and then it reopens and then it closes again for a long time. I believe this is due to an issue with the lift hills, perhaps just one of them. But basically, as I understand it, there is a mechanical issue with the chains, the timing of the cars. Something is happening there where on the ride, the trains aren't latching or unlatching at the exact right time. There's something not moving correctly, and the attraction computer thinks that the trains aren't where they should be, and for safety, it stops the ride. And then they have to reset the whole thing. They have to send maintenance in and all of this, and that's why it's down for hours. There's not actually a safety issue. It's that the wear and tear on the ride has reached a point where the ride often thinks that it is malfunctioning, and then maintenance has to go in and put a Band-Aid on it. I wouldn't be surprised to find out it has brake issues too. Not that the cars won't break, I mean like the excessive wear on the brakes. They have to replace them. That's very costly. Sometimes if they have to do that too much, then they want to redo the whole system. Mickey Views has previously alleged that a brake update on Rock and Roller Coaster a year ago is why it had to be down a big chunk of this year as well, basically undoing their previous mistake. By the way, in other news, Rock and Roller Coaster at Disney's Hollywood Studios is scheduled to reopen to guests on July 27th. And guests will notice some changes when they go on, according to our sources, especially in the exit gift shop, where allegedly, according to our sources, Disney has lost their Aerosmith merchandising license, specifically for the merchandising stuff, and that means that they've had to remove all Aerosmith references and posters from the post-show area, the actual gift shop area, and rumor has it that the overall license for Aerosmith on the ride is a handful of years away from expiring as well, and Disney is currently working out what Disney IP to replace it with. And there are two in particular that I keep hearing about, but that's probably a subject for another video. None of this is official, but I'm confident what I'm saying is the case. So what I expect us to see with Big Thunder is Tiana opens, and that gives park operations some breathing room capacity-wise where they can afford to close Big Thunder Thunder Mountain for a while. When exactly this will start, who knows? Whenever it does happen, Disney will do track updates, as in upgrades to the lift hills, the mechanisms there, as well as updates to the ride computers, the sensors, all of this, fresh pairs of brakes, all that sort of good stuff. And along with this infrastructure upgrade, Imagineering has been finally able to work into that budget some theming enhancements that were originally planned for the 50th anniversary, which will help justify this investment. Where the ride comes back online, Disney can say, hey, they can advertise to get locals back. Hey, we have some new stuff here on this attraction, so people come check out the new effects, spend money, and all of that good stuff. How long Big Thunder will be down? People on social media, they are guessing around a year. I have no special insight on that. A similar case study might be the People Mover a couple of years back, where originally there was a rumor that they were replacing all the motors throughout the attraction. That was not true. They did not do that. What they did is they reprogrammed the ride computers, and that took a lot of time, basically to prevent the cars in the event of an emergency stop from being able to hit each other. So they had to redo all the computers around the attraction, the whole way the sensors worked, the way that the motors operated when they shut off, how they shut off, in what order, and all of this, and that took a long time. And with this attraction, if they're redoing the sensors and the computer system, on top of that, it sounds like they're also going to be doing things with the track infrastructure, which needs upgrades. That is all going to take some time. So it's going to be a while whenever Big Thunder goes down before it comes back online. Disney has not confirmed any of this yet, by the way, but from what people are saying on social media and what I've heard talking to our sources, it sounds like it could be down for quite a while whenever this update actually is set in motion. I'll keep you on top of the latest here. Before hopping over to our last big Magic Kingdom story, while we're over in this part of the park, I just wanted to refresh your memory of last video back in April when I broke the news that I believe Radiator Springs Racers from Cars Land out at Disney California Adventure is coming to the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World in this Beyond Big Thunder Mountain area, beyond the frontier, as Disney would say. To my knowledge, this is still the plan, and interestingly, in the first episode of the We Call It Imagineering series, some of our viewers, after I broke this rumor, noticed going back and watching this episode that you can see a model briefly of Radiator Springs Racers in one of the shots inside of Imagineering headquarters. But the interesting thing is, it's a model of Radiator Springs Racers with the same basic track configuration as the one out at Disney California Adventure, but the rockwork has been inverted. It has been flipped around, and the rockwork along the back part, it looks like it has been value engineered down, where it no longer has those big 50s car fins. All I can say for now is very interesting stuff. Last up in Magic Kingdom news today, Disney has released some new details for the Country Bear musical Jamboree, including a look inside where Walt Disney World's very talented costuming department has been hitting the sewing machines, creating all sorts of new costumes for the bears. In the latest Imagineering episode, we found out that songs played during the show will include A Whole New World, Try Everything, and Bare Necessities. I've told you guys previously there will be some carryover musically from the original show, and an extra tidbit for you guys that Disney has not put out there, they have not disclosed, but this is the case. Not only are the animatronics getting new costumes, I've also previously told you guys they're getting some new motors. Some of the hydraulic motors have been replaced with servo motors that require less maintenance and they have better reliability, but also for fans of Splash Mountain that saw the new video inside with Tiana and were feeling a little down when they saw the fact that, they've taken out all of those animatronics. Some are from America Sings. They were really antiques in there. They were really pieces of history that you had in that attraction, and they were all ripped out of Splash. Well, components from some of those animatronics that they ripped out of Splash Mountain have been installed inside of the bears at the Country Bear Musical Jamboree to make them move better, to make them move more for this new Country Bear show, if you can believe it. So now there's even more history, more Disney Parks DNA that has been added to the show as part of the update. And as I previously said, the bears getting new components, this big investment that they're getting, that means that this show is safe. It means no matter what happens to Frontierland, the bears are here to stay for a long time. And it looks like they're moving better than ever. Last video, I told you guys I expect the show to open in August. Based on some updated info that I've heard, it is very possible, barring any last-minute delays or things that they run into, that the Country Bears may be back even sooner than August. If everything goes well, they could be back even earlier this summer. All Disney has said is summer. We're definitely not talking June, but it's possible. At the latest, we're talking August, but it's possible we could even be talking July for when you will be able to visit the Bears again. So very good unofficial news there. That's the latest news in the world of Disney today. Be sure to subscribe with those notifications on because we've got much more news to get to. We got stuff to cover at Epcot, at the resorts, Disney World transportation news. We've got some drones over at Disney Springs. We've got news on stuff going on over at Disney HQ, which I'll be getting out to you guys very soon. If you'd like to find out how to support the creation of these videos here at Mickey Views and Address Unknown, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/MickeyViews. Thank you so much for watching. From the Mickey Views Magic Studio, this is Brayden. Have a magical day.